Hey everyone, ever found yourself staring at the stars, wondering if any of this life, the universe, your to-do list actually matters? What if the answer isn't some profound truth, but nothing at all? That's where nihilism comes in. It's the philosophy that says, hey, maybe there's no grand meaning to anything. Sounds dark, right? But what if it's also liberating? Is nihilism a cold, empty void? Or is it the ultimate blank canvas for you to paint your own purpose? Let's get into it, because whether you're here for the existential dread or the mind-blowing insights, this is one rabbit hole you won't want to miss. Ready to question everything? Let's go. Have you ever had one of those moments where you stop and think, what's the point of it all? Maybe it happened after a long day at work, or when you were scrolling through social media, or even while staring at the stars on a quiet night. That feeling, like nothing really matters, is something we've all experienced at some point. But what if I told you that this feeling has a name? It's called nihilism. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, great, another depressing philosophy video, hear me out. Nihilism isn't just about doom and gloom. In fact, it might be one of the most liberating ideas you'll ever encounter. It's the philosophy that says life has no inherent meaning, no grand purpose, no cosmic plan. But here's the twist. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. So, what is nihilism? Where did it come from? And how can it help us live better lives? Stick around because we're about to dive deep into one of the most misunderstood ideas in philosophy. And by the end of this video, you might just see the world, and yourself, in a whole new way. Alright, let's start with the basics. Nihilism is the belief that life has no inherent meaning, purpose, or value. The word itself comes from the Latin nihil, which means nothing. It's the idea that all the things we chase, success, love, fame, even morality, are ultimately meaningless in the grand scheme of the universe. But nihilism isn't just some modern, edgy internet trend. It's been around for centuries. One of the most famous philosophers associated with nihilism is Friedrich Nietzsche. You might have heard his famous quote, "God is dead." Now, Nietzsche wasn't literally talking about God dying. He was talking about the decline of traditional sources of meaning, like religion, in the modern world. As science and reason took center stage, the old stories we used to tell ourselves about why we're here started to lose their power. And that's where nihilism comes in. It's the realization that if there's no higher power or cosmic plan, then life might not have any inherent meaning. But here's the thing. Nietzsche didn't see this as a bad thing. In fact, he believed that nihilism could be a starting point for creating our own meaning. So why is nihilism relevant today? Well, think about it. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages about what we should care about. Whether it's climbing the career ladder, chasing likes on social media, or finding the one. But what if none of it really matters? What if the pressure to succeed, to be happy, to be perfect, what if it's all just noise? That's the question nihilism forces us to ask, and the answer might just set you free. Now, let's dive deeper. Nihilism isn't just one idea, it's a spectrum. On one end, you have existential nihilism, which argues that life has no inherent meaning, no grand purpose, no cosmic plan, just existence. On the other end, you have moral nihilism, which says that concepts like good and evil are human inventions, not universal truths. But here's the thing. Nihilism doesn't have to be depressing. Think of it like a blank canvas. If life has no inherent meaning, then you get to create your own. You're not bound by anyone else's rules or expectation. You're free to define what matters to you. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're playing a video game. You know the game isn't real, right? The characters, the story, the quests, they're all just code. But does that stop you from enjoying it? Of course not. In fact, knowing it's not real might even make it more fun because you can play however you want. Nihilism is kind of like that. It's realizing that life is a game and you get to make the rules. But nihilism isn't just about individual freedom. It's also about questioning the systems and structures we take for granted. Take morality, for example. Most of us grow up believing that certain things are right and others are wrong. But nihilism challenges that. It asks, who decides what's right and wrong? Is it God, society, or is it just us? This doesn't mean nihilists are immoral or that they don't care about others. It just means they recognize that morality is a human construct. And once you realize that, you can start to think critically about the rules we live by. Are they fair? Are they just? Or are they just arbitrary? Now let's talk about another aspect of nihilism, absurdism. This is a philosophy closely related to nihilism, made famous by Albert Camus. Camus argued that life is inherently meaningless, but instead of despairing over that fact, we should embrace it. He called this the absurd, the conflict between our desire for meaning and the universe's indifference. Camus' solution? Rebel against the absurd. Create your own meaning, even if the universe doesn't care. It's like Sisyphus, the Greek mythic figure who was condemned to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity, only to watch it roll back down. Camus said we should imagine Sisyphus happy. Why? Because even in the face of futility, we can find joy in the struggle itself. Now let's clear up some misconceptions about nihilism. A lot of people think nihilism is about giving up, about saying nothing matters, so why bother? But that's not the whole picture. Nihilism isn't about apathy, it's about freedom. It's about realizing that if nothing matters, then you're free to create your own meaning. Some critics argue that nihilism leads to chaos, that if we all stop believing in morality or purpose, society will fall apart. But here's the thing, nihilism doesn't mean you stop caring. It just means you care on your own term. You can still be kind, still fight for justice, still chase your dreams. Not because some higher power tells you to, but because you choose to. And then there's the opposite argument, that nihilism is too bleak, too cold. But isn't it kind of comforting to know that the pressure's off? That you don't have to live up to some impossible standard of success or happiness? That you can just be? Another common misconception is that nihilism is the same as pessimism, but they're not the same thing. Pessimism is the belief that things will turn out badly. Nihilism, on the other hand, is neutral. It's not about things being good or bad, it's about things being meaningless. And once you accept that, you can start to see the world in a new light. Finally, some people think nihilism is a modern idea, born out of the chaos of the 20th century. But nihilism has been around for much longer. In fact, you can find traces of it in ancient philosophies like Buddhism, which teaches that attachment to worldly things leads to suffering. The difference is that Buddhism offers a way out, a path to enlightenment. Nihilism, on the other hand, leaves you to figure it out for yourself. So what's the takeaway here? Nihilism isn't about despair, it's about liberation. It's about realizing that life doesn't come with a manual, and that's okay. You get to write your own story. You get to decide what matters. But here's a question to leave you with. If nothing really matters in the end, does that make life more precious or less? Does the absence of inherent meaning make every moment more valuable because it's all we have? Or does it make everything feel hollow, like a game we're playing without a prize? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into philosophy, life, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and remember, even if nothing matters, you matter. See you next time.